Welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina. And we are the co-creators of TYRO.
TYRO is a Latin word which means apprentice, novice, someone learning something new, a warrior.
Ooh, we are warriors.
Fighting for your legacy.
Yes, in order to become to really build a strong, powerful legacy, you have to be a leader in your home, your community, and your workplace. And that's what we're going to be talking about today on TYRO TV is how do you exemplify leadership qualities no matter what else is happening around you?
So today's topic is when everything changes.
Ooh.
You know, when everything that you thought was going to run smoothly, but something disrupts your agenda.
And we know what we're talking about because Ron and I had only been married about 5 years when Ron was sent to prison for a crime he didn't commit and spent 15 years in prison. Changed everything.
You know, when we say a crime I didn't commit, that also means, you know, I was doing a lot of bad things, you know, and we reap what we sow. You know, you might get away with something, but eventually life will catch up to you, right? And that's what happened to us. Life caught up to us where we couldn't be taken at our word. But when we come into a realm of leadership, you know, we want to be held accountable. We want to know that, you know what, you can take my word to the bank.
Ooh,
right?
That's right. That is absolutely right. So how do you respond and react to change? When everything changes around you, how does it shake you up? How does it change your world? And what do you do to stay the course?
And that can be challenging, especially when it's all about you, all about me. Because when we set an agenda, we set a plan, and it's not going our way, we have a tendency to take it personal. We might even throw a temper tantrum. We might even start blaming others for what's not working in our lives. And so
you want to stay tuned because today we're going to break down what happens when everything changes and how do you respond in order to continue on your path of success.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You'll begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Cathy Tijerina's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina. And today we're talking about what happens when everything changes.
You know, when we look at life and we look at the chaos and the disarray and even our thought process is what we're really talking about here, because we might have an agenda, we might have a plan, we might even be so good at writing it down, but that doesn't guarantee it's going to go that way.
Oh, it almost never goes that way. But there are oftentimes big things that totally take our lives off course. And so that's what we really want to talk about. Because in our own lives, when we experienced you going to prison and everything began to fall apart, but, you know, we watched life happen all the time, whether it's a death, whether it's a diagnosis, whether it's a divorce, whether it's an affair, whether it's prison, whatever it is, whether it's bankruptcy. Big things happen in everybody's life. And so when we talk about when everything changes, there's the, like, before this happened, how life was, and then suddenly this happened, and now life changed.
But we can prepare ourselves for when that happens. You know, what does it mean when life changes in your world? You know, the disruptness. Something is disrupting you to a place of where you can either freak out, right? Or you can
Which is
hide,
typical, right? When it first happens, oh my gosh, now what?
And then you got to find yourself in a place, I don't know what to do.
Right.
I don't know what to do. And that can be scary for a lot of people. Because maybe there's something new that is taking place in your life that you've never experienced before, and you don't know what to do.
And so what we're talking about is that moment of change, that moment that just like takes your breath away, that maybe knocks you down to your knees, totally unexpected. Maybe you show up to work one day, you get to work and they say, I'm so sorry, the company's been bought out and you don't have a job anymore. And so you had all these plans for saving for vacation, saving for your kids' education, paying bills, but you might even be living check to check and thinking, oh, I just got my bills caught up and now I'm going to start saving, and boom, income's gone. Or you go to the doctor and you think you're just going to have a normal checkup, and all of a sudden you're faced with this diagnosis that totally changes your world. What do? Are you prepared for when life slaps you in the face and knocks you down to be able to get back up and keep going? Because if you're not prepared, you need to be.
You know, and preparing this, and what we're talking about here is getting to a place in your own strengths, and the things that empowered you to get up every morning, no matter what happens. Because what we're talking about is when life changes in you, when life changes around you, does it take you out or does it lift you up? Does it empower you or does it deflate you? You know, we have a choice each and every day when we get up in the morning. We can either be the change or we can let the change us.
That's right. And so as we think about the things that change, you know, in our own life, I'm going to go back to when Ron went to prison. I remember coming home and I remember just, in total and complete shock that he went to prison because I just wasn't prepared for that. Pulling the driveway, I remember just sitting in my car thinking, I am so unprepared for this.
You know what, we can go all the way back to the beginning. When I was indicted.
Oh, yeah.
Man, what the heck?
Right.
You know, and
how can this be happening?
We're in denial that it's happening. We're lost. We're tripping. We're like, this is so unreal. This is unfair. All these emotions that were just running wild in us, through us. We didn't even know how to talk. We were speechless. Right? Has that ever happened? Have you ever been pulled over believing that you weren't even speeding and all of a sudden you got a ticket or something happened that just slaps you in the face, life catches you off guard, and you're standing there with your britches down? Right?
And how quickly can you recover from that? Because, you know, when you stand and you get this gut punch, right? And you totally have the wind knocked out of you. How quickly can you recover? Because if you can't recover quickly, it's going to derail you and derail your family and can take you out, right? So when we're talking about being taken out, we're talking about how quickly can you recover when change happens. When you take that stomach shot and the wind is knocked out of you, can you get back up and keep going, right? Refocus, recenter, and say, you know what, this hurts, but it's not going to take me out.
You know, and sometimes you might need to be taken out more than once or get hit in the gut before finally you find that strength, that the victories that you have overcome, to remind you that no matter what comes your way, no matter what disrupts your world, you know what, you lived to tell about other situations that you've overcome. And sometimes we got to be reminded of that. Hey, we know this is terrible. We know this is happening. But do you remember when you overcame, and you tell the rest of the story? Do you remember when this came at you, but you lived to tell about it? It didn't take you out. Sometimes we got to be reminded of all the victories that we had, because guess what? Life is constantly throwing curveballs at us. And it doesn't mean that it's meant to take us out, because what doesn't kill you will make you stronger.
There's a measure of joy and a measure of pain in everybody's life. And I remembered, like, oh, why me? Poor me, you know, when things would come and I was unprepared. And it would take me out. I mean, it would take me months to recover, to get a plan together, because I felt like it was just me, that I'm the only one that is suffering. I'm the only one that's having to deal with this. And that's not true. Every person. So if you are listening right now and you're thinking, hey, you know what, that's not happening in my life, it's not happening today, but if you're not prepared, when it does happen, you will be taken out. And so you've got to be prepared, you've got to be ready, you've got to get that catcher's mask on, you've got to get that padding on, so that when those balls, those stray balls come and they try to hit you in the head, hit you in the stomach, you're prepared for it. So, you know, as leaders, and I'm going to take it to the dads and in the family, you know, when we're talking about fathers, you know, life is going to throw a lot of curveballs at you, and because there's no real manual how to be a dad. We're just watching, we're learning from other people, and we're becoming better or bitter, right? Because life, if you're not prepared for it, you can become bitter. So when we come back, we're going to talk about why it's so important to be prepared, so that when everything changes, you're not taken out. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
playing catch, basketball, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. These are all normal things on the outside, but many times are missed in a visitation setting. TYRO Dads brings the same fun experience to the inside through Family Days. As a TYRO Dad, you have the opportunity to participate in this fantastic event. Family Day is designed to allow fathers and families to engage with each other through activities designed to stimulate communication, learning, and play. Family Days will not only be a highlight for you, but for your children as well. The Ridge Project has strategically developed Family Day as an opportunity to help you connect with your child throughout your separation and help both of you develop skills to continue building your relationship when you return home.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina.
And we're talking about when everything changes. You know, how do you prepare yourselves when life takes you, life is throwing something at you that you never saw coming? You know, I remember once we were watching a movie with our grandson, and all of a sudden he says out of the blue, "I didn't see that coming." And he was like 5, 6 years old when he said that,
Yeah,
right?
and it was like, we both looked at him and it was like, wow, that is like so true so often. When things come out of nowhere, sometimes we don't see it coming and it totally takes us off track. And so now in this segment, we really want to talk about why is it important to be prepared for the unexpected, so that when everything changes, you're prepared even when it's unexpected and you didn't see it coming.
So, you know, dads, I want to talk to you for a little bit because people are counting on you for stability.
Oh, that's
This is key to any successful family, right? When the father is stable, when he doesn't get taken off his square, when he's able to just really take everything in his stride and not take everything personal, because you've already been prepared. You've already mentally, emotionally, and physically and spiritually prepared to take on what's coming at you, because you know through experience of what you've watched in other people, right? How they overcame situations, how they dealt with situations, and how they found victory in those situations.
But when you can stay on your square, even in the unexpected, and you can remain steady, okay, is it going to hurt? Yes. And it's okay to say, you know what, this is painful, this is unexpected. It's okay to cry, it's okay to be honest, but then say, okay, this is what we're facing, this is what we're dealing with, and here, we're going to take a minute, we're going to pause, we're going to make a plan, we're going to move forward. Because if you can exemplify that security, that protection, it creates peace at all those around you. Your kids would be like, okay, there's a sense of safety. Even in the midst of the storm, if you create a place where, you know what, we're going to be okay, we're going to create a safe haven. I know it's hard. I know that the storm is raging, and I know that there's a sense of danger here, but you're safe. And when you do that, you establish the breeding ground or the cultivation of the field for hope to reign.
Because when you don't, let's talk about the opposite real quick.
Right.
You know, fear will set in and it will paralyze your family from growing, from overcoming whatever situation you're facing, right? Because when we move in fear, when life is hitting us, now we're going to make our decisions based on desperation.
Oh.
And if we move in desperation, people get hurt, things will fall apart, bills won't get paid.
Chaos takes over.
And I'm telling you right now, desperation is not your friend when you're moving in fear. Right?
So instead, you really need to be prepared. You need to be thinking about, okay, how do I increase my resiliency and my family's resiliency in order to face those hard times? Because hard times, all of us someday are going to die. And you don't know who's going to be taken out first of your family, right? You need to be prepared with resiliency to say, you know what, even though this is horrific, even though this is not something I want to deal with, I have to continue to live life. I have to continue to live well and lead well because people are counting on me. So we have to build that resiliency, that self-regulation, so that we have the fortitude to be able to overcome those obstacles when they occur.
So when I went to prison, the truth is, we had none of those things.
No fortitude.
Let's
no
just say
resiliency.
we had none of those things. Our family was in a state of mess.
Right. It almost took us out.
But as we began to really examine and talk it through and really peel back the onion, what happened that got us here where I could be taken at my word and began to understand and activate the principles. This is going to change our life forever. But we have to move with it. We have to grow in the midst of it, where we can bring stability to our marriage, our relationship, our family structure, our children, so they can grow up becoming stronger, not weaker, becoming better, not bitter, and really coming to a place of where, you know what, if we can live to tell about this, this is how fortitude and grit is built in the midst of the storm.
Yes.
Not before, when we can prepare ourselves, but it's in the midst of the battle that you know I'm ready, the resiliency, because guess what? Can you bounce back from life's woes?
Right.
Can you bounce back when somebody throws something at you that is not true, or even something like you get a bad diagnosis, as Cathy said, you go to the doctor and says, what type of resiliency are you prepared? Is it ready for you? Get back up. You know what? This isn't going to take me out. We're going to fight this. We're going to go for this, and we're not going to give up. We're not going to throw the towel in.
Or if we look at the word fear, you said, fear can take us out, and that is so true. We have seen so many times, we've seen family be paralyzed by fear, and then their family just begins to crumble and disintegrate, and bitterness and anger and anguish overtakes their lives. Instead, face everything and recover.
Powerful acronym.
Face everything and recover. And in the past, we would face everything and then run, right? And so we would hide, we would freeze, we would not actually deal with the issue and the problem and overcome it so that we could become stronger. And what that did was that was teaching everyone around us that, you know what, when obstacles come, then you just give up. And instead, we decided, we need to set a new precedent. We must recover from this. Will life ever be the same?
No.
But that's okay. Just because it will never be the same doesn't mean that our life is over and we are completely fallen to hopelessness.
So when we come back, we're going to talk about how to implement or how to put some principles in your life to prepare you for when life throws a curve at you.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Dear son, it's been hard these last few years, watching you grow up without me in the picture. Never taking the time to find out how you were or what was going on in your life. You're just a boy, I thought. You don't need me. I didn't need my dad. He was never around, I told myself. But I was wrong, son. I'm supposed to be a grown man. I was selfish. I was stupid. I was thinking of me, not you. If I could go back, son, and change things, I would. It's taken me all this time being selfish to finally grow up and realize I need to be a responsible man. That's what I finally learned, not from prison, but the TYRO program. It's all about becoming a better, stronger man. Wish I would have gotten it sooner. Everything looks different to me now. I'm a changed person. I know I need to be there for you now. It's not about me anymore. It's not about being cool. It's not about who I run with. It's about mom. It's about you. It's about being a better man, learning something new in my life. It's about being a TYRO, a man worth following. I'm your dad. You're my son, and I love you. I am a TYRO. I'm a TYRO. Dad.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Ron. And today we are talking about how to be prepared when everything changes.
And can you really be prepared?
Not totally.
I think about the military. They got a slogan. I think it's the Army. Be prepared. No, that was the Boy Scouts.
That's the Boy Scouts. Close.
Right. The Boy Scouts have a slogan. Be prepared. Be prepared for what? The unexpected.
Everything. Always prepared. Right?
And I love that because that empowers all of us to know that, I didn't see that coming.
Right. So the unexpected is what you're trying to prepare for by building resiliency, by thinking about fortitude. And that means that we're not going to give up when small things happen. Mm-hmm. We're going to let those things make us stronger to prepare us for when the big things come. And so we want to share during this segment, we want to really talk about, now how do you apply that? What do you need to do first of all, when everything changes, right? And then if it's a small thing or a big thing, as you practice these principles, you are stronger and more prepared for the next hit, because that's life.
I think one of the drawbacks or the pitfalls that we fall into, especially if you're a strong individual, strong man, strong dad, you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to tell nobody you're struggling. You don't want to tell nobody, you know what, I don't know what to do. I know if you're in a car and you're lost and your wife says, pull over, ask somebody for directions. Come on now, right, fellas? I know what I'm doing. I don't need to pull over. So we go into a place of denial. But the key thing to success is, the first one I really believe is, talk about it.
Right, you have to talk about it. And that means that's two things. One, you're talking about how this is impacting you, but you're also letting the people around you who have also been impacted know that, you know what? Yeah, this is impactful. This is tough. This is hard. This is a big hit to us. And it's okay to talk about it and acknowledge that it's affecting us. So that's number one. Number two, now that you've talked about it, now listen. Because you want to listen for understanding from other people's viewpoint. Because like when Ron went to prison, it impacted me in a way that a husband leaving a wife impacts a person, right? So all of a sudden I'm a social widow, all of a sudden I'm out here by myself, and it had that impact. But then I had to listen for understanding because it was impacting my children in a different way. Now they're fatherless socially. I'm listening to my in-laws. Now their son, right? So this event, this unexpected change, is affecting people on different levels in different ways, even though it's the same event. And so first of all, talking, second of all, listening.
Well, and listening for my part was when I went to prison, being that was my first time ever in an environment like that, right? Where did I get experience? Where did I get advice from? I listened to the people who had experienced it, unfortunately, more than once or had been there for quite some time, and they helped me adapt to the environment I found myself in, because it was, the truth is, it's a hostile environment.
Huge change. Right?
Huge change. And the whole different world, our world was turned upside down. But because we were able to listen, and the key thing to listen is be teachable. Right?
Absolutely.
Be teachable. Number three is to create stability. Is to be that individual, be the people in your life, in the lives around you, where you create safety, where you know it's chaos, but when people come around you, can you create peace?
And you're asking yourself, how do I do that, right? I'm reeling too. Well, here's how you do it. The first thing that you've got to do is you've got to get back on a regular schedule as quickly as possible. I know it's hard. I know when Ron went to prison, it was like the last thing I cared about was getting on a schedule. I'm like, don't people know everything's just changed? How can life keep going? How can people keep functioning normally? And then I realized, you know what? I've got to get back into some sort of normal function in a schedule for my kids' sake and for my own sake. So as quickly as you can, yes, grieve. And it's okay to continue to grieve even as you get back on the schedule. But you've got to start bringing normalcy back into your life so that you can keep moving.
That is crazy that in your world, while I was incarcerated, Cathy, that creating a schedule for you brought stability and brought actually a sense of normalcy and peace.
And security for my family.
Well, guess what happened? As soon as I was incarcerated, guess what? Here's your schedule. Here's what time you're going to eat. Here's what time you're going to get up. Here's what you can do. Here's when you're allowed to. So I was automatically thrown into a schedule. I didn't have no control over it, but guess what? It was to help us adapt, help us find normalcy, right? Because this world is upside down. So we were told when to go to bed, when to take a shower, when to eat, what clothes, how many clothes we had. So we were in a controlled environment where the schedule was solid.
And see, so that was easier for you to get on a schedule. I had to control that environment. I had to set that schedule out here. And many times we see people just, when catastrophe hits, they lose a loved one, they lose their job, they lose all their money, whatever it is that happens, they want to stop living. But you know what? You still have breath. And as long as you still have breath, you have a chance for change. You have to keep going, which brings us to number 4. Now build a plan to walk out your legacy. Just because things aren't going the way you planned and your plan has been disrupted doesn't mean that you stop living. You don't want to become a walking dead, right? You still have opportunity to create an incredible legacy in spite of the pain and challenges that you faced. Walk it out. I don't care if the doctor just gave you've got 3 months to live. You've got 3 months or maybe more to continue that legacy. Walk it out.
And this is exciting because you have the choice. So that means you still have control, or you still have the power to live out your destiny. Right? It may not, as Cathy said, you might only have 3 months. And that's what we never want to hear, right? But unfortunately, some people have heard that. What did you do with those last 3 months? Did you live out your destiny, or did you throw in the towel?
So when we come back, we're going to wrap it all up. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You'll begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Cathy and Tijerina's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina. And today we're talking about when everything changes, what do you do?
You know, this has been a great segment because it's reminding me of what we had to do in order to maintain sanity.
Oh, yes.
Right? Because our world was turned upside down. We were living in we had a crazy lifestyle. Everything was crazy about us. People couldn't believe we were crazy in love with each other, right?
Oh, my goodness.
You know,
yes.
but it made us better. It made us stronger because why? We faced it. We didn't run from it. We looked at it. We talked about it. We listened to people. You know, we were walking it out. We had to create stability. We had to practice what we're talking about in order to see tomorrow.
Yes, we had to build resiliency so that we could exemplify fortitude, right? So resiliency is the ability to face things and to figure out how do I get back up and keep going in spite of the troubles. The more resilient you are, the more fortitude that you can bring. And fortitude insulates you so that when troubles come, you actually become stronger instead of weaker. And then that wave crashes. You know, think about a fortified castle, right? And they've got this huge brick thing. When the waves come, when everything comes against it, it stands firm. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. It doesn't mean that there's still danger. It means that they're protected and insulated. And that's what our job, that's what your job as a father, what your job is as a mother, as a family, is to build that insulation so that your family legacy is protected. Hard things are going to happen. We're all going to face some sort of catastrophe in our life. I mean, we've been through so many catastrophes where we've wondered, are we going to make it? Do we have even the energy to get back up, dust off, and keep going? But sometimes you just have to encourage yourself. And that comes through talking and listening. That comes through creating that stability in a schedule and continuing on in your legacy.
So the bottom line, the choice has always been yours. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. If you don't know what to do, ask somebody. If you need help, ask somebody. Listen, we are all in this continuous improvement plan. Life is going to be hard for everyone. It's got to, you know, from the cradle to the grave, there's a measure of pain and suffering in everybody's life. But when we hear the stories about a champion and they're victorious, believe this, there's a story that goes with that victory. So embrace your story. Tell your story. Don't run from your story. It's your story, no matter how ugly it is. But what people want to hear and what they want to know about, how did you overcome it? How did you live to tell about it? And what is making you stronger today? Well, it's because of what you overcame yesterday that you're able to live powerfully in a sense of freedom today. So don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. You got this.
No matter how bleak it looks, no matter how devastating the news is, no matter what else is happening around you, as long as you still have breath, you have a chance to continue on to build your legacy and set a firm foundation for people around you to follow.
So thank you for letting us be part of your journey. And until next time, always remember
That
we are rooting for you.